Good evening. Today in this video I'm going to show you something that I have made here, and this is a house concept that I have actually made here, and as you can see it looks pretty huge, and I'm just going to explain each part one by one. So if we want to know what the entrance is, then here is the entrance here. Now this is just a house concept and not an actual thing, although I might plan on doing this in the future, but still this is just a concept. A concept is basically something which is just imaginary or a plan, sort of like a plan for something huge. That is a concept. Different versions, one concept will be chosen and that will be the final product of whatever a project there is. So anyway, here is this as a house concept, and I just divided it, or else it will just be a mess. So I just divided each part. So here actually some key points here. This rectangular box that you see here around the walls are the windows, and now this line in each and every room, with this as kind of dots, is the door, and the dots show in which direction it opens and closes. And also some rectangular boxes which have multiple lines in between are the stairs, and the same rectangles apart with vertical lines are the gray gates. So here is the first part here, the front yard, and now as you can see this is the gate right here. This is the gate, or basically the entrance, and here and you basically enter the house through this. There you will find the front yard with many plants. Of course there will be plants, or else it will just be very empty, and all there is the portico here, which is basically free roaming space. Also the garage, where we can store all of our vehicles, cars, motorcycles, scooters, anything here, and all the vehicles here in this area. So you will just basically drive your vehicle here and then drive it into this garage. So it will be safe and no one will try to steal it if it's locked here. This is the gate, another gate like this, except it's highly guarded for protecting that vehicle. So that is the front yard complete, very simple. Lots of plants, the portico, the garage for storing vehicles, and so on. Now here, what happens when we go through this door here? Now there is only one door here which leads to the ground floor here, or for the Americans it will be called the first floor. Now there is a grammatical difference between Indian and English, or actually American and English. Now we call the first floor the ground floor, and Americans just call the first floor the first floor, except we call it the ground floor because it is on the ground, and then we call all the floor above the ground floor the first floor. Yes, it does sound confusing, but you will get used to it if you live in America and you are an Indian. Then you might get used to it, hopefully. But anyway, if you go through this door, then it will lead to the ground floor here. First, if you enter from here, from the portico to this door here, which connects the portico to this, is hallway. Now hallway is basically just an indoor lane, if you can call it, which leads from one room to another, or just like a lane. And then if you go through this door, or then you will reach the living room. Now here, and it will have a very nice sofa. Oh wait, alright, I prefer this shape. It looks very nice. So anyway, this is the sofa, and this will be the carpet. Okay, there will be carpet all around, but there is no space to draw it, and this is just a concept and not an actual thing. So I don't need to just lay out everything, or else it will just be a mess, especially the fact that I have written all names. Anyway, there will just be a carpet for more room for sitting, or for party, or for partying, or any special event that is happening. Like with this house, you might be able to throw a party with lots of friends, because this house is pretty big. And anyway, there's a large screen TV here. I just wrote this symbol and I've written TV because it would just take up too much space. So I'll just keep it simple and named it TV. Now if we go into this room, where behind the TV here, then you have reached the library. Now the library actually, it has a lot of books, which is just the main reason. Obviously the library has a lots of books and also a computer on the walls. So there you go, that's simple, the library. And also there's a sink here to wash your hands or to get rid of a stain of something. Now here we go through this door, then you have reached the bathroom. Now there are actually two parts here, the bathing bathroom and also this, the toilet. Of course you need a toilet or else will you release your waste. Anyway, there's also a sink, another sink here, and I suppose there's a room for showering, obviously. And if you go to this door, which is just beside the bathroom, then you have reached the toilet where you can release your waste without any intention. And now that's the bathroom done. Now I go to the room which is behind, and it is a bit far from the sofa. But then you have reached the kitchen. There are shelves, compartments, ovens, sinks, and everything, or basically everything that a kitchen needs. Now that's pretty much everything about the kitchen. And all the other information is just based on who the owner is, and also their choices, whether if they want an oven or not, if they want shelves or not. It's their choice, but still. But like I said, for the third time, this is a concept. Now here we go through this hallway here, which is basically another indoor lane, if you can call it. Also there is a pretty big, there is also windows here, so you can see the outside view if you have no neighbors at the side. Okay, this is not a neighboring house. This is just the first floor. Like I said, I divided it because how would I show you? I mean, there's stairs here. If I just overlay it over the ground floor, then how can I show the ground floor? If I just show the first floor, then it will just make no sense. Anyway, and here, if we go to this hallway which has a very big window for viewing, then you will reach the drawing room. And basically, you can do all sorts of things here. And you can throw your birthday party here. You can even make videos here, and so on. So that's basically the drawing room. And if you go through this door, then you will find the stairs. And if you go up the stairs, then they will reach the first floor. So that's the ground floor done. Oh yeah, and also the front yard. Also, I forgot to mention the backyard. Now we go to this lane, or the lane here, and keep going at a certain length, and then you have reached the backyard. Nothing too special, and nothing too complicated, and nothing too special. There's plants, there's greenery. That's basically it. There's also the bathroom and the kitchen is just right beside the backyard. Bathroom has no window because you obviously need privacy there. And so that's the backyard. It's just simple. Greenery, plants, all that stuff. So that's the backyard done. And now here's the first floor, or what the Americans call the second floor, because we have an extra floor name which is called the ground floor because it's on the ground. Anyway, if you go up the stairs, as on this stair, then, and there are actually two doors for you. One for here, which leads to the terrace, that I'll mention later, and the other one which leads to the main room, or what you can call the dining room. Yes, there's the living room and the dining room. Now I wrote the table here, but I also written optional because we Indians typically eat on the floor. So I guess that's optional if that house was ours. Okay, I guess the table is optional. But anyway, there are actually two guest rooms here. So when a guest comes here and wants to stay, then we'll have two, at least two. And also there is a spare room Well, you can do anything you want here. Okay, that's based on the owner's choice. This spare room, that's just an extra room for whatever reason the owner wants. And this, if you go through this door right here, you will reach the balcony. You will have an outdoor view of everything. If your house is built in an open field, then it will look great. But if you are in a city, then I will recommend and not building a balcony, because all you will just see is just the street and lots of houses. But if you are in an open field area, then you can get a balcony. It's just your choice. Anyway, there are actually 4 bedrooms right here. There are 4 for a family of 4 or 5, or even 5 or even 6. Like 6, I guess. There are actually 4 bedrooms here. Pretty comfortable for a family of 4. So that's basically the first floor done. Now I can just tell you this in brief. Mostly bedrooms, guest rooms, and also an outdoor view, or basically the balcony. Now, for this staircase that I have mentioned, it will lead you to the terrace. Now there will be a room here, but once you go through this door and then this door, then you will reach the terrace. You can put whatever you want, plants. You can put plants and flowers. You can even host a party here, an outdoor party. And if you go here, then you will find another very big balcony. Will just be over the front yard, or just be above the front yard. So that's basically the terrace done. Oh yeah, and also the first floor. So that is all about my house concept that I have done just by my own. I was bored, so I just made this house concept just for fun. So that's the house concept here. Alright, so that's all for this video. Bye.